Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. Today we're recording at the Advisors Mortgage Group studio, like always, right here in downtown Carmel. And I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy. I've been in the mortgage and real estate business for over 34 years. I've helped over 5,200 folks finance their home. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is a best mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Ian Arnold, part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for over 15 years, helping customers rebuild their credit and helping them get the best possible interest rates. I have a passion in helping you secure your overall future through your mortgage dreams and helping you secure your overall generational wealth.
And as we get started today, we want to remind you, for any information on Indy's real estate market or mortgages, please go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
All right, so we have a special guest with us. He actually chased us up the stairs. He wanted to be on the show so bad. I think he grabbed Rick's ankles, and it was like a horror movie out of something.
That would have been a disaster.
But
Nice.
For both of us.
yeah.
but we have Ken Yoder. I pronounced that correct?
Yes, you did.
Awesome. And you're with Mark
Dietel. Mark Dietel Realty.
I said it first earlier, but this time it didn't roll off the tongue as well.
That's okay.
So thank you for joining us.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So before we get into the real estate part, tell us a little bit about yourself. Did you grow up here? What did you do prior to real estate?
Sure. So I actually was born and raised in Delaware, the state of Delaware out east.
Cool.
And spent most of my life there. I spent, before I moved to Indiana, I spent 5 years in Alaska as well.
Wow.
And enjoyed that scenery and that location, that place. Loved to visit. And then I met my wife in Philly and got married. And her family is here in Indiana. So 16 years ago, moved out here and started work.
That's awesome. Yeah, wives will have that effect
Yeah,
on you.
yes, they do. Yes, they do.
I want to be closer. We've always had this discussion that my wife and I is that it's more of a guys can just separate.
Yeah.
But women want to be close to home and be close to the family. And I'm like, well, I somewhat start to see that as I've gotten older.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what made you jump into real estate?
Well, so when I moved here, I was trying to figure out kind of what to do. I do have my education degree, and so I love helping people, but I also kind of have a little bit of entrepreneurial, want to do things, want to make things happen, and so I started my own business in construction, and did that. Was getting started with that, and then I had a friend from Delaware who owned a property here in Indiana, and he said, "Hey, can you manage my rental property?" I've never done that before. And that was kind of the door in to renting that. And then he said, "Hey, I'd love to invest more in Indiana." Bought another 13 properties. I renovated them all, rented them out, and that was sort of the side activity, the side income as I was working in construction. So I learned a lot about that. But it kind of set me up and gave me a taste of real estate, even though it's the hardest part of real estate. Allowed me to kind of get my foot in there. At that point, then I realized, hey, I do need my real estate license. So I actually got that in 2011, but kept working part-time. And so that's kind of what happened until I made the transition away from the construction industry and decided to go full-time about 4 years ago.
That's awesome. So what did you do to get going? I mean, because I know a lot of times it's hard because you're from Delaware and Alaska, so you probably didn't know too many people here.
Correct. So my wife and her family had pretty good reach as far as they were pretty well known on the South Side relative to their sphere of influence, and so just getting connected there, that was helpful. But then I wasn't in real estate full time until it would have been 4 years ago. So I had a lot of years of working in the construction. I got to know people there. I was all over the city, crisscross the city. So those connections, there was a lot of connections there in place. And then when I stepped in full time into real estate, then it was a little easier transition there.
And so when you were in construction, so you're remodeling homes, you're
Mhm.
renting properties, how do you feel like that has helped you be a better real estate agent?
Oh, it helps me evaluate properties. So one thing that uh, as realtors it makes us cringe is when people assume we're just door openers, and we should be way more than door openers. And I bring that because of the construction. I can go in and analyze a property. I know all the parts and pieces of the house. If something is a little bit off, I've got a contractor connection that can come in for a fair price. There's a lot of added value there because of my experience and past connections there.
Yeah, I would think having the knowledge of remodeling, because
Absolutely.
whenever you remodel,
Yeah.
I just got done remodeling my house the last couple of years, and
Hey, this show's only 45 minutes, sir.
I know this is gonna be quick. It's gonna be quick, and I mean, it's amazing how many things as they're remodeling on an older home
hmm
that you don't know is going to be there, but it's there.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing the remodelers kind of knew that that was a possibility.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
I think having a real estate agent who can look at a house,
Yeah.
whether you're buying or selling, but it helps immensely to have somebody who knows what it is and then can get somebody in to fix it and
Absolutely.
knows how to do it.
Yes. Yeah, it's that. And then also just having trusted contractors because there can be the contractor that's out there that just wants to make a buck and run. And that's not, I work overtime to keep them away from my clients.
And that helps the client too, because
Absolutely.
we all need referrals are phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, especially in that area.
Yeah.
Especially the last few years when you
Yes.
couldn't, I mean, getting a contractor was not the easiest thing in the world.
Yes.
And I had good contractor comparative,
hmm
but my neighbors and other people have had nothing but disasters with
Yeah.
the contractors.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, a friend of mine who, before I was connected with him, had a contractor take 20 grand and run.
Oh,
And it
that's
just,
terrible.
yeah, just made for a horror story.
Yeah.
So
Now, do you still do rental property?
I just have a couple that I manage, but I try not to because it's time consuming. It's its own entity, its own world, and so I prefer to recommend my clients who are investors go to property management companies. Zuluscape is the one I recommend, but
Okay.
they're out of Carmel, and they manage a lot of properties. They have all of their processes down to a science, and just I'd rather hand it off to them
Right.
instead of me trying to keep track of all of that for my clients.
So do you help buyers who are looking to buy rental property? Or-
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
one of the things that you do.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's kind of just organically grown that investors, whether it's friends, sphere of influence, or their friends, come and looking for those investment properties. And how do you analyze it? What do you look at? What are the calculations? Do those calculations even matter? And they absolutely do. I mean, you can look at a property pretty quickly and know, hey, I'm just going to break even and just barely make it on this one, or like, hey, this one's going to be a really, really home run. So
It seems like people look at two different ways, and maybe it's just me and not everybody. Am I buying this property to hold and
Yep.
get appreciation and get the
Mhm.
that way? And I've had plenty of people that have basically retired off their rental properties.
Absolutely.
They paid them off,
Yep.
and they just have that income, and it's
Yep.
phenomenal. But there's also those who are looking to buy. I guess there's three types: buy, rent for a little while, sell, or buy, fix up, and sell.
Yes.
And you help all all that.
Yes.
Sounds like you really understand that market.
Yeah, and I work really hard on that because I want to both advocate for my clients to get a good deal. So even if we evaluate, it's like, okay, it's sort of an average one. Well, we can advocate for either a discount or some sort of scenario that's really beneficial to them, and then also just help them evaluate it. Of saying like, hey, this general area, hey, it's headed the right direction, or it's sort of neutral, or if you're going to go into the tougher neighborhoods, it should be more of a long hold. You do a 15, 20-year hold in a long or a challenging neighborhood, you're going to be okay. If you're going to go into a challenging neighborhood and try to flip it in 2 to 3 years, can't guarantee anything.
Right.
And then if you want to really flip in the next, 60 to 90 days, and you got to really, really be mindful of the location.
Yeah.
That is interesting because you do watch all the flipping shows and all that stuff, and they make it seem so easy.
Of course. Yes.
Real estate is really easy. According to the TV.
Yeah.
No, it's very easy.
So it is kind of insightful to know which areas to go to and stuff like that.
Yes.
So speaking of areas to go to, so when you started, did you go straight to Mark Dietel, or did you start with a different company? And then how did you choose which company best suited you?
Sure. So, interestingly enough, I actually linked up with Mark Dietel back just after he got into residential real estate. He was in commercial real estate for the first little while. And I met him shortly after he started his own brokerage in the real estate side, or residential side, and chose to place my license with him in that sort of part-time status. Wasn't really in the office. I was doing my thing, mostly other things. And then really I was there for that duration. And then when I realized, hey, what am I doing? I need to be in real estate full time. I love it. It pays better, all of that. Then I just I went to him. We talked through it more, and he was actually just transitioning into a lot more structured team environment. And it really just, it was perfect timing. So I stepped in there full time when he had a full-time structure, team that was everybody in our office is full time. We're running that way with accountability, routine, and it's just been really, really helpful. And that's what I'd recommend to anybody who's considering real estate, especially if you're going full time. And I would recommend going full time. When you go full time, look for a team environment that can really help support, train, and prepare you to how to really do real estate, how to be a good realtor. Admittedly, when I passed I got my license in real estate and started on the first transaction or two, I didn't know what I was doing. The test, the licensing, it didn't tell me how to do real estate. And so I've benefited immensely by actually being immersed in that team environment that allows me to we work off each other. You've seen this. What's this? And it just has been super beneficial.
Yeah. Those tests do not teach you anything.
No,
even
no,
ours. It teaches you some of the laws and the rules, but that's about it.
Yes, it's the basics, it's the background, but it's not the how-to.
Yep. So if somebody is wanting to either buy, sell, or even talk about an investment property or something like that, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Ken?
My phone number, 317-220-6465. You'll never miss me on texting. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible if you do leave me a voicemail. But yes, texting there at 317-220-6465.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, it's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thanks for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. While we, hardworking mortgage guys, secure your best mortgage, real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. They listen, and they find unrealized opportunities. If you're even thinking of buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
All right, so let's take a little sidestep.
Yeah.
Let's say I got to take that phone away from you that you just told people to call and text and you'll always respond. Let me take that away for you for 24 hours. What would you catch yourself out there doing for fun?
I love getting outdoors. I really enjoy hunting. I enjoy fishing. Anything that's just getting me away from the routine. Real estate is kind of a 24/7. Got to have my phone in my hand all the time. So yes, I would be outdoors.
So where do you like hunting?
What do I like hunting? I enjoy hunting deer the most.
Deer. Do you use a shotgun, rifle, bow?
I use a shotgun, but I think I'm transitioning to a rifle this year.
Oh, awesome.
Wow.
So how many deer have been scared away because your phone goes off while you're in the deer stand?
Oh, well, honestly, my phone is on silent
Okay.
about 24/7. So, because otherwise it would just drive everybody crazy because it's always ringing.
So I want to know, you're a fisher person?
I'm definitely a fisherman.
Oh, okay. He calls it a fisher person.
Hey, you got to be politically correct nowadays. I don't want to get yelled at.
Just wanted to know.
Keeping us from getting censored.
Just wanted to know. Fisher person. So what would you say your superpower or superpowers are?
Superpowers? You mean within the real estate world?
Unless you have unless you're like Superman and you just want to tell.
If you fly or leap tall buildings in a single bound, we want to know about that.
No, I don't have any superpowers there, but I do love working with people, and I think that's what makes things work really well for me and my clients. Is I really want to see what's best for them. Want to work hard for them, find them the best investment. I don't want them to come back a year or two later with regret. Hey, why didn't you tell me about this? Why didn't you see? I didn't know this was whatever excuse it may be. I want to serve them with that sort of intensity of like you can pour the foundation right here because this is a good one. This is a win.
And what is your process to make sure that happens with each client?
Well, for number one is getting to know them. And so what are they trying to accomplish? What's the purpose of this move? What are they trying to gain by buying this property? And as we evaluate that, honestly, I use a number line, the 1 to 10, and get constant feedback on every showing. And so it may be 5 showings, it may be 10, 15 showings, but not too far into that, with that sort of feedback, constant feedback, I learn what they're looking for. And then collectively, all that put together with like, hey, I see your wish list. I know what you're looking for. This checks 99% of it, 100% of it, maybe even more. I think this is a real win. You still don't have to buy. But based on what I know about what you're looking for, I think you can be really confident in this one.
So when you first meet with somebody, and I know usually you have to talk about how you separate yourself from other realtors and stuff like that. So what does that conversation sound like?
I mean, honestly, I do a buyer meeting with all my new clients, and we sit down for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, get to know you a little bit, and also just, especially for the first-time home buyers, of, hey, here's the process. Here's it. I don't want you to be surprised about anything. Here's the associated costs. You got closing costs. You got inspection. You got appraisal. And then ultimately, like, hey, in light of all that, is it actually a good time for you to buy? And so we walk through that. And then as far as for myself, it's like, I've been there. I've done that. I've done it many times. I've helped a lot of people. I have renovated a lot of homes. Bringing all of that collective experience is a real value and absolutely puts me beyond just being a door opener.
Yeah. Nobody, like you said, you don't want to be a door opener, but
no.
Setting expectations seems to be a big piece of what top agents do,
Absolutely.
what the gurus do. And then, it's amazing. The more you show, because of experience, the knowledge, you learn so much about the client that you can really help narrow down the house.
Absolutely.
Right.
Expectations make or break relationships.
Yes.
And this is, I'm helping buy and sell homes, but ultimately I'm helping people. And so it's a people business, and we all run on expectations. And if our expectations are met, great. If they're exceeded, you're amazing. If they're not met, you're terrible. So I want to do a really good job of setting those expectations. And part of that a lot of that happens in that buyer meeting.
Yeah, it's important. So what would you say some of the misconceptions are out there of what a real estate agent actually does?
Just that they open doors and push a little paper. And that might be for the agent who really doesn't know what they're doing, but for an agent that is experienced, is seasoned, you're going to add a lot of value that the inexperienced just doesn't have. And I would say even within, and I'm sure you've seen it in the mortgage world, you comparing, what you do to others, there's a lot of added value, and a lot of times that's not even seen. When you're out in the, you're analyzing a house. Well, if you're not analyzing it well, you're going to put in a price at X amount. If you analyze it well, you may go 5,000 under, you may go 10,000 under and still get it. But because of your experience. And if you have an inexperienced agent, then you don't know whether they have masterfully done that or not. And so there's significant value in the maturity or seasoned agent and what they can bring.
And isn't there also, even if they're unseasoned, they're inexperienced, not necessarily young, inexperienced, to having a team behind them that, like if you had
Absolutely.
an agent working for you that was inexperienced,
Yes,
but they have you
absolutely
guiding them,
Yep.
they can somewhat overcome that, can they not?
Absolutely, because and that's even what we teach the new agents is, like, use the word we, because we're doing this, and within our team structure, we actually have a transaction coordinator who's running all the paperwork, making sure everything runs smoothly, and so it's not dependent on the one person. It's dependent on the team. And so definitely those of us that are seasoned on our team help those who are trying to quickly learn. So, you can take confidence in an agent who has less experience but has that team support.
I even notice or have heard that even very experienced agents many times will get feedback from other very experienced agents on, did I price this home correctly? Is this where we should be? Mm-hmm. I think they even don't you have even like agent open houses, not the normal open house, where the agents come through and say this is whether they think the price is right or not right.
Yep.
And that's just getting feedback to make sure you're accurate.
Yeah, the broker's open can be really beneficial for that, where the agents are just leaning on each other and learning from each other. So, it'd be great.
To me, that seems like a good idea.
That's when Ken's like, no, my number's always the best, you guys.
No, I'm always learning. Even as an experienced agent, always learning.
So was Mark your mentor going through the business?
Yes, he was.
How valuable was he?
I mean, he has great people skills and analytical skills from the finance side of things, and just how to do what we need to do to be great agents. He actually invested in a franchise that helps out on the back end of things. So the structure has been put in place for the team to benefit from the organization that's put in place. So, like, him leading in that has been very, very important to my personal development and the team's growth.
Yeah, obviously, having a great leader, and a great mentor makes a big difference. And it sounds like, to me, I'm one who I like the detail.
Yeah.
I'm not completely into detail, but I do like the basic detail. I like, to have a plan. I like to have the consistency. And it sounds like he's set you guys up for success because he's set up the whole process.
Absolutely. Well, and I think he's also very relatable. He tells a story when he got into real estate, he was hungry. Like he was hungry at one point too. And so, I've been there. He can relate to that, and he's helping feed, the agents on the team to follow that line.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you look at agents coming in, you get a lot of newer agents. What would you say the number one reason is, and they fail? They don't make it in the industry
because they're not on a team. And I have. I've even been tempted myself at times, to go it alone but in my own humility, recognizing what I need to keep that consistency and that routine and that the discipline of just putting in that work on a daily basis. You don't have that when you're on your own, kind of doing your own thing whenever you want, however you want. If you're willing to submit yourself to a structured team that can keep you in that routine, it makes all the difference. I mean, it will double and triple your sales volume and everything else, and your learning curve. you're just going to get a lot more experience.
That's all. So what would you consider one of your, so I know your days as being a realtor is always different, but on a standard, let's say rough day, what does your full day look like?
Well, and that would kind of default back to really the team structure, because I mean, I'm in the office, the typical 9 to 4, unless I'm showing houses, and so I could technically work a little bit from home, but I found for my own accountability, just like, hey, just get to the office, just get in real estate mode, just get there, go for it. And so, yeah, the 9 to 4 showings in the afternoon, showings on the weekends, showing in the evenings. But if I just kind of willy-nilly it through my routine or day and really just don't get to the office, my production is going to go way down.
And if somebody wanted to buy, sell, rent real estate, had any questions on real estate, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
By phone. My phone number is 317-220-6465. It's 317-220-6465.
And they can call or text that number.
Call or text,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I had somebody tell me their phone is available 24/7.
Yes. Yes.
Not them, their phone.
If I'm sleeping, it's on silent, so it's all good.
I do have to say, that's a good number.
Yeah.
220-6465.
Yeah, that is.
I'd only have that number, and I have it memorized.
Yeah.
That's a good number to have.
awesome.
And you know how
Did you
I am.
choose it? Or?
I did. I did
Okay.
choose it. Yep.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And no, Ian, that's not the year I was born.
You sure about that?
Positive.
I don't know about that. All right, so now we'll get into the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, hey, Rick and I, the Hardworking Mortgage Guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates throughout the whole loan process. Nobody likes being left in a black hole, so we do not live there. So we will send you constant updates. All right, so here's a tough question.
Go for it.
What was your first car?
It was a Chevy S10 pickup that I got about a half mile down the road and smoke filled the cabin.
Was that the end of the car?
I kept it. So it was
Put a fan in the car so you could blow out the smoke?
Yeah, we ended up getting it fixed, but yeah, that was my starter truck.
Did your parents both look at you? We told you not to be smoking in the car.
No. Oh man, that's a fun memory.
Yeah. Now, do you have fond memories of that car?
Not so much. I didn't own it real long. Okay. I moved on pretty quickly.
Well, there was a little indication there.
Yeah. Honda Accord was the next one.
Oh, and he still drives that one today.
I could be.
It didn't smoke in the car.
It did not. It did
not a Honda. I don't know. It's funny how Ian's a big Toyota Honda.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm just a big car person. I just like cars all in all.
Nice.
I'm a very cost person. I bought my car about 7-8 years ago. I barely put any money into it. Knock on whatever wood I can find right now, and I'll take that. It's a Toyota. They run forever.
They do.
Well, mine doesn't, and it's not a Toyota. And all in all, I'm pretty disgusted with cars right now, just to be perfectly honest.
Maybe you should listen to Ian.
Maybe I should, but I don't think. Why would I start now?
Yes, that's good.
I don't think so.
I'll tell you the same thing I tell my wife. I'm always right.
So how do you? What do you do? What's your process to market somebody's home?
Sure. So Mark Dietel actually has a very in-depth listing program. And so I learned from that. I use that. We're getting people out on all the syndicated websites, top of the Zillow search. We've got billboards all around the city. We've got the radio. I'm sure you've probably heard that. And so the name is well known. We have our in-house photographer that takes incredible pictures, does the drone shots, does the Rico 3D image through. We're not a discount broker. We are a full service, high level, high quality, get it done right, invest a lot into marketing every property.
And why should somebody use that? Because I firmly believe that that's the best way to go with somebody who does everything, even though it costs a little bit more because it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that's worth it? Should somebody use you and all those services over a discount?
I have seen it over and over and over again that the discount broker a lot of times just doesn't invest in those things on each listing, and so the property sits. If the property sits, it becomes like a stale loaf of bread. Nobody really looks at it anymore. Then the big deal investor or the really tight buyer is looking for the big deal, and so then they start hammering you on price. And that discount broker that saved you a couple percent can lose you thousands of dollars by not properly marketing. Where you want your house to come out in its listing hot and ready and hit the market, and people just go for it. You get that you generate that sort of activity on your listing, you're going to do really well. And if you cut yourself short on that, again, sort of that unseen world, you could be losing yourself tens of thousands of dollars, even more than the percent or two that you saved by going with the discount broker.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a product on a shelf.
Yeah.
If you just have a plain label on it and it just said ketchup,
yes,
what's the odds you're going to get that? No. But if I put ketchup and I have tomatoes cut up and everything on the front, looks so much better. You're more willing and you're going to spend a little bit more because you're like, I like what's inside those ingredients, even though they're the same exact ingredients.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing as well is the pictures that come through. I've seen too many iPhone pictures that are poorly framed, poorly colored, terrible lighting, don't even really convey properly the house. And so, 90% of your people out there, it might even be 95, it's way up there that people are first looking at your house online, depending on those pictures. And when you present the product in a bad light, then it's either a hesitation, maybe they don't even go to the property, or if they do, their expectations again are lower than what they should be. You market that properly, your expectations are higher. Your buyers come in with different expectations.
I will say this: when my wife and I were looking at houses, and this was 2015.
Yeah.
So I was shocked. I pulled up one. She goes, "Look at this," and I pulled up pictures, and the first couple pictures looked great. And I'm like, okay, I don't see anything wrong. Got 4 pictures in. Garbage all over the living room floor. Then went to the kitchen and there's stuff all. I'm like, why would you not clean this up before you took pictures?
Yeah.
And I was just shocked that somebody would even think about putting that online.
Correct. Yeah, and a good agent's going to be honest. So you want an agent who's going to be honest with you to tell you what you need to hear, so that your pictures convey well and it's marketed well. If you come up short of that, you could really be hurting.
The pictures have to be, in my estimation, they have to be accurate. You want to, like you said, they have to be framed correctly and all that. But they also have to be accurate, because sometimes I've seen them where they take pictures and it makes a room look huge.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that might entice me to go see the house, but it wouldn't make me buy the house. In fact, it would make me irritated that I wasted my time to go see something that wasn't what they portrayed it to be. Do you find that by having a pro photographer, you don't get those?
Absolutely, because again, it's a business to people based on expectations. And so when expectations are sort of almost like hoodwinked, like, haha, I got you to come out to the property, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth as a buyer and a buyer's agent. Doesn't really get you all that excited about really throwing everything in the kitchen sink in to try to buy it.
Yeah. I'm looking at cars right now, and to that point, it's Chevy, which I would think wouldn't do this, but they're showing this lease payment. Now, I knew the lease payment probably wasn't what they were saying, but they're showing these lease payments at $200-$300. You go there and they're $800 or $900.
Yes.
All it does to me is irritate me.
Absolutely.
I don't know how it would make anybody
Absolutely.
buy a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got them in the dealership, but what good is that? And just like a house, if you get me there, and I want buyers to walk. I want people that are actually interested. I'd rather them see what size the room is and go, okay, I can deal with that. And then maybe when they go, it's like, oh, this is actually bigger than I thought. Not, oh, this is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, one little note on that, and then I'll ask a different
You'll
question.
quit beating on this horse.
Yep. I'll try that. The drones, and you said you guys do that.
Yeah.
I thought that was phenomenal because back in 2015, when my wife and I were looking at houses, they didn't really do this. And so one big thing for us was yard size. We wanted a bigger yard just because we knew we were going to have kids and stuff like that. So I'd go out there, I'd look at the picture, I'm like, oh, that looks like a good yard. And they did like a panoramic view, and the yard's like maybe 10 by 10 foot. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I mean, it looked like it was like at least a half acre.
Yeah,
and I would get so mad.
Yeah.
So then I started telling my realtor, I'm like, no, if it's not this, don't just tell me, and we'll just stop that search.
Yeah, that's fair.
That drone footage is phenomenal.
Yes, it really adds to the marketability, and in a clear drone shot. It just helps give you perspective on location and the neighbors and like everything.
Yep.
Super important.
So what would you consider one of your most memorable deals?
One of my most memorable deals. There's a, well, I honestly, it's going to come back to like clients that were, it was just fun. And I have a lot of fun hitting home runs for my clients, because there was a client family. Honestly, they had moved from Nigeria, and he had been here for a little while, and I helped him buy the house, and then his family could come as soon as he had a house, and he had the other family members, and it was a referral thing is how I got that, and we got the house. We missed it on the first time through as a timing thing. As we were showing it the first time through, it went under contract. So he was totally bummed. Another week or two it came back on the market. We locked it down, got it. Family members came over then kind of as a walkthrough and literally laid on the floor crying.
Wow.
Because they were just so overwhelmed with joy and excitement, and that's just fun. That's really fun.
That's a feel good, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you cry? It's okay. Just admit it.
Oh, there might been a watery eye or two.
Ian would have been crying. He'd have been laying on the floor crying like a baby. So what are two resources that you think, man, if I didn't have these two resources, I wouldn't be where I am today?
It's absolutely being connected with the team at Mark Dietel Realty. That's significant resource. It's a daily resource, helping me meet my goals, and then just top-notch service, because one thing that most people don't understand about the real estate world is that a transaction coordinator, there's tons of paperwork to do within a transaction, and because I have a full-time transaction coordinator, I can hand off a lot of that and then focus on the next client. And that enables me to help more people focus on that. And it helps me build my business in that sense. So that's an absolutely vital part of it. And maybe this is even like part B to that answer is the franchise that they're connected with has tons of training. So you can get on call. You can get, there's national trainers just saying, hey, this is just how you handle this, or this is a better way to help people. And so that's been really, really important.
Yeah. I like to point out that getting with a team is great, but then finding out what that team can offer to help you is even bigger.
Yes.
Because if you just get on a team and they're just like, yeah, you're part of the team, go sit over there in the corner.
Absolutely.
Well, how is that helping you?
Well, and so that's everybody has, as an agent, has to be under a brokerage.
Correct.
So there's a difference with just being connected with a brokerage and on a true team. And there's even kind of the in between where you're loosely affiliated with kind of a team within a brokerage. but you still kind of do your own thing. You can stay home every day if you want, and kind of, hey, if you have a showing to do, go for it. Call us if you have questions. That's sort of that in between where our team model and structure is in the office every day, as much as you can, and you have that constant feedback. You have the camaraderie with other agents that are killing it, and they're having success. You're having success. It's shared. It's invigorating. It's energizing, and it just helps me continue to do a better job.
And are you adding team members at this point?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, and pretty much a monthly basis.
Okay.
Open to onboarding, and you really get an intense 30-day training where you're in daily, going through all the how-tos, how to do real estate, how to be a great agent, and then you slowly you're jumping onto the call shifts, and talking with clients, getting in front of people. And you're getting your real estate business rolling down the runway, getting ready to take off.
So what do you look for in somebody when they come in, they want to talk about being a real estate agent? What is it that you're looking for and in that person
Sure.
to hire them?
Are they likable? Do you like being with them, within the first 20 seconds?
You're out, Ian.
No, my wife stuck around 12 years. We're good.
The first impressions matter. And so the first impressions to you matter because the first impressions, how they make others feel, it matters. So that's going to be one quick test. But then secondly, kind of with that is, are they a people person? Do they like people? You can't be in this business if you don't like people, because people do people-y things. And people who don't like people get really frustrated by people-y things, and it can be a difficult business to be in that sense. So those are some two significant things, and then absolutely you have to be self-driven. If you're not self-motivated, self-driven, then this business isn't for you either.
I don't think any sales career is a good career for somebody who isn't self-driven.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we say sales, but I think that with real estate and even mortgages and really most things, the traditional salesperson isn't what we are.
Absolutely.
They consider us sales, but really what we're here building relationships and helping, the top people are building relationships and helping people.
Absolutely.
Or I consider ourselves advisors.
Yep.
And the only reason is because, look, if you want to find out all the information, get online. Use that little phone in your hand. You can find out all the information you want. Now, what does the internet not tell you?
Correct.
That is why we are here. And especially with real estate agents, you guys got to deal with the emotions. And emotions are never talked about online. It's like, oh, you go sell your house for this, and then you go buy a house. Okay, well, there's a lot more to it than that.
Absolutely.
So I know a lot of, and so have you gotten your therapy license and all that yet?
I probably could pass the test.
Well, he has an education.
Yes.
Right? Did you ever teach?
I did. I taught middle school for 4 years. So
now, that seems to be one of the biggest career moves is from education, from being a teacher into real estate.
Well, there's a lot that relates there, and I think your word of being an advisor is absolutely key is what our role is. And so there's a lot of education comes with advising, based on our experience. You have to be willing to invest your time in people to advise them along, the way they should go. I think the next word for our role would be also an advocate. So I'm an advisor and an advocate. And so we get in the midst of a transaction. I'm advocating constantly for my buyer as I represent them. So, and education is you got to care about people. So caring about people, you're advocating for them. Educating, you're advising them. And so I think those really fit together really well.
Yeah. There's a lot to that because while you're doing that, if you're negotiating on the house, you're also dealing with the other side, which even though you're somewhat adversary, you're both really trying to make the same thing happen.
Absolutely.
So you really have to work together. And I think the best people do work together.
Yes.
And so you have to keep not only your clients' needs in mind, but you also have to work, know what the seller's needs are so that you can work it all out so that everybody really what we want is a win-win, right? Everybody
Correct.
wins in the transaction.
Absolutely. And I, again, to come back to a previous point of expectations, just run so much of this process. Because if I can bring a reasonable understanding to my side of the transaction, and then I advocate for a reasonable response on the other side, then we can usually meet in the middle somewhere. As long as both parties are willing to be reasonable and their expectations are accurate to how things really should and can work out, then we can get the deal done.
And so if somebody wants to get a deal done, they want to buy a house, sell a house, and they want to talk with you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Through the phone. My phone number is 317-220-6465. It's 317-220-6465. You can call or text anytime.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus, please follow us.
And Ken, we'd like to thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure having you on our show.
Thank you. It's been an honor.
All right. And reminder, if you know any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, refinance, contact Rick or I. We'd be more than happy to help you.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Ripma's NMLS number 664589. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.